Welcome to IDFC First Bank presents Leaders of Tomorrow Season 11. I'm Sunanda GHCL. On the show today, we're talking all things manufacturing. First and foremost, I'm in conversation with mattress giant Duroflex, talking about the mattress manufacturing space. Our second conversation tonight is with GHCL, a giant when it comes to the chemical and textile manufacturing industry. My first question to you, and we're really talking about the ideas for New India. And you're saying, when we were chatting offline, you said the market and the industry is really moving towards becoming customer first. And that's going to, continue becoming perhaps really the differentiator for big players like yourselves.
Sure.
What was it before? And, where are we at right now? And what do you mean by consumer first?
So I think one of the big realization that we had was the whole COVID thing, right? I think it hit us in a very big way where we understood that the consumer expectations and their preferences are very, very different.
Okay.
And that sort of speed tracked everything else that we were trying to do with the consumer. So one of the first things that we did was to go back and understand what was the real consumer need.
Sure.
There was an ask from the consumer saying that they didn't care about material, but they really wanted to understand, how do I get good sleep? And good sleep came from the fact that they wanted a mattress that was addressing their need of an orthopedic mattress, a mattress that gave them better back support, a mattress that was plush and comfortable, that helped them wake up energized.
Yeah.
There was a need of saying, I need a product that is more environmentally sustainable.
Yeah.
And of course, the most important ask of a value product, right? So keeping that need in mind, we went back to our drawing board and sort of redesigned the entire way that we would approach the product, the manufacturing, the supply chain,
Sure.
the entire consumer experience.
Sure. The market is still very fragmented, still very unorganized.
Yes.
Where are you at in terms of an industry when it comes to organized versus unorganized, and where do you see it really moving, and how do you see that changing?
If you had asked me this question maybe 10 years back, I would have said the market was probably 70% unorganized and 30% organized.
Sure.
Today, it's progressed a lot more from, the overall scenario, where we are probably looking at close to about 45% is being organized and another 55% still being very, very unorganized.
But it's still a relatively good number, isn't it?
It's a big number. And
Sure.
that's the opportunity that we also see for the market. That today, a lot of consumers don't really appreciate the brand, the need of a brand, what a brand does in compared to some of the other mattress manufacturers that are there. And that is the true opportunity that we see and that we're going after.
How are you embracing, and how have you embraced e-commerce? And also, how is e-commerce really changing the way people are buying? People are understanding the different, attributes, if you can call it that, of the product. What are the changes there?
So, COVID again, a big differentiator that came into all of our lives.
Yeah.
We realized that the consumers were stuck in their house. They still wanted to buy a mattress because they were at home.
Yeah.
They were experiencing the product more than they were before and valued the mattress a lot more. So we accelerated our plan towards e-commerce probably with the entire COVID change that came on board.
Sure.
Where we were sort of addressing the consumers through, a mattress in a box offering, where the hassle of having to go to a store was sort of avoided. They were uncomfortable, in fact, to go to a store where, with the whole COVID situation, very unpredictable. So e-commerce sort of accelerated that growth by making the product and the purchasing process of a mattress a lot more simpler, easier, where the product would come delivered directly to the consumer's house. We have very big ambitions for the experience centers that we're doing, where it sort of elevates the entire product experience and you get to interact with the product a little better than what it was before and in a much more safer zone, and you get a lot of insights about the product and make the right choice about the product, whereas maybe that was not that well facilitated before.
Okay. Innovation for this industry, how is that really moving now?
So I think when innovation is key for us, it is one of our most important pillars that we're driving the entire business on.
Sure.
But we looked at innovation a little differently, again, keeping the consumer in mind. Like I said, there were probably 4 very specific asks by the consumer from a need where they wanted an orthopedic product, an energizing product, a natural living product. We then focus our innovation keeping those specific needs in mind, where we developed our 5-zoned mattress, keeping in mind that a person's need of a fully aligned, person needs to be fully aligned when they lie on the mattress, so that the spinal posture is much better aligned. Keeping that in mind, we did our entire innovation around Duroflex as a range, where we worked on material as well as the different layers that we would use. Not just to say use a layer of foam, but a lot more these kind of zoned layers that gives them much better comfort. In fact, one of the other things that we did was also sort of touch on the energized range, where we've used copper infused material that actually makes the foam a lot more cooler, a lot more breathable, which was a very important need that was coming from the consumers. We've sort of gone back to understanding how do we use more sustainable sources for our products, where we've actually used, so for our energized range of mattress, the fabric that we use has 40% of recycled PET that is sourced from south of India.
PET bottles?
PET bottles.
Fantastic. Okay.
That made it a lot more interesting for a company like us, because we are very, very sustainability, something very close to us. And to give that offering to a consumer was something that excited them as well, that they were part of the sustainability journey. And we sort of innovated on a lot of those materials as well as the experience that we gave to the consumer.
How have consumer buying habits perhaps changed?
See, today I think the consumers are completely aware of all the options that are there.
Yeah.
The buying habit, they would go to a store, experience the product. They would want to try and go back home, understand more of the product online.
Whether they're based on a tier 1 or a tier 2 or a tier 3
doesn't
market?
matter.
Oh,
In most cases, we've actually seen their first experience actually is online.
okay.
Right? They go search the product online, they go to a store, not so decisive about a decision, they still want to go back online and try and make that purchase. So the purchase doesn't really end at one of those spaces. So as a company, we've sort of aligned towards making that purchase and that omni journey that a consumer goes through a lot more easier. So the consumer buying preferences, the way that they would buy has changed a lot. E-commerce, again, the mattress in a box, making it convenient for a mattress to get delivered to their house in a small box has changed it quite a lot for the consumers, especially in urban market where you're looking at high rises, apartments, where having to carry a bulky product like a mattress has become a lot more convenient.
I found it quite interesting that you were talking about the PET bottles and, really taking threads from there and using it in your product. So is the industry moving towards being more environmentally conscious, or just a few players like yourself?
I wish the industry took a little bit more effort on this.
Okay.
I know as an association, we are more conscious about it.
Which association is this?
We have a mattress association, a sleep mattress association.
Okay.
ISPF.
Okay.
Indian Sleep Products Forum.
Great.
Where we sort of talk about these kind of problems that everybody is facing.
Sure.
As an industry, what should we be focusing more on? Things like sustainability, where we want to try and use more eco-friendly means of trying to make our product more friendly for the environment.
Sure.
Right. So some of the things that we've started to do, like I said, was the PET bottles.
Yeah.
We've started to use, one of our factories actually, based out of Kerala, actually has gold certified latex foam, which is organic certified latex foam, which we've been predominantly exporting since 20-25 years. We've been exporting to US, Europe, a lot of the Asian countries as well.
Okay.
What we've now started to see, there's a lot more demand for these kind of products in the Indian market as well. They are a little bit more expensive. They are a bit more on the niche side. So keeping that in mind is where we have introduced a range called the Natural Living range, which we have sort of making these kind of products more available for the consumer, where we sort of use materials like I said, the natural organic certified latex, organic cotton fabric, bamboo fabric, aloe vera, all of those materials that make it more sustainable. At the same time, we're sort of going back into our packaging as well and seeing how do we try and make our packaging more sustainable so that, it becomes a lot more friendlier in the way that the consumers get to access the product. In fact, an interesting thing about the roll pack mattresses is that the roll pack mattresses or the mattress in a box actually reduce your carbon emission because you're going to carry a much more less volumetric product versus a bulkier product. So in a truck, roughly you would be able to carry 100 and about, let's say, 100 mattresses, which are bigger ones. The compressed roll pack mattresses, you can probably carry about twice the size, twice the quantity. So thereby reducing your overall carbon emission that is caused by you as well. So
Okay, my last question, very briefly, for an entrepreneur, small business watching today's interview, what advice do you want to leave them with, based on your own professional journey?
working with family is exciting and difficult as well. So as a company, what we've done is we've actually, we decided that we need to bring in professionals who sort of complemented us in many ways to sort of expand ourselves. So that sort of the skill set that we didn't have, we brought in from outside people who were subject matter experts who could come and help us, get this thing going.
Okay. Thank you so much for speaking with us.
Thank you.
Fascinating conversation. Thanks. I'll slip into a short break. On that note, when we come back, we'll continue talking about the big ideas for New India when it comes to the chemical and textile industry. Back in just a moment. Do stay tuned. Welcome back. You're with us here on Leaders of Tomorrow. Today, we're putting the spotlight on the textile and chemical manufacturing space. I want to talk about the second part of your business, if I can call it that, which is an equally important arm of your business, and that's as far as your textile manufacturing and your yarn manufacturing business is concerned. Right now, the contribution of the textile sector to the overall GDP is very minimal. It's just about 2%. What's going to take the industry from where we are to becoming a much larger contributor to the GDP?
See, if I can say, as you rightly said, today India has a huge potential on the textile side, because first and foremost there are a couple of strengths which the India has, which no other country has. Like we are the largest producer of cotton in India. So that's one of the biggest advantages. Second is the human resources. India has a huge human resources, and that also is a major requirement for on the textile side. Probably some of the things which is required is from the government side is to promote this industry, because lot of means employment opportunities in this area is there. So there are a couple of things which is required on this side, my understanding. One, government requires to push this industry by giving some incentive on those industries. That is number one. Second, recently government has come out with a policy on a duty on the raw cotton. Probably that also government has to kind of reconsider that decision of import, because that is making India as a non-competitive vis-a-vis this thing. Third thing, which is again very important, probably the government is working towards that, is a labor laws. And I think you know that some of the labor laws has already been, labor code has been kind of notified. This probably in the next couple of, I would say in a couple of quarters, when the state governments, all the state governments adopt it, probably that will also help on the flexibility of the labor employment to the people. So probably these are, fourth, if I can say so, which is again very important for this, large integrated plants to remain like if you compare with the China, one of the weakness which we have is we don't have a large integrated textile businesses as compared to the China. So probably if the government can support on that side, probably this business definitely has a lot of opportunity. Vietnam is really going ahead of us on this side. Bangladesh is also going ahead, and primarily they don't have a cotton. Both these countries don't have a cotton. Still they are competitive in that. And the prime region is only because of the labor laws and the labor productivity.
So just coming back to what you were saying in terms of the yarn manufacturing processes, nearshore destinations, Thailand, etc., are doing much better than us. And you said despite not having a ready source of cotton, they're doing much better, largely because of the policies which are available to them. So then talking about India, how can India continue to retain its competitive edge against these countries?
Like I said, like if you look at Bangladesh or the Vietnam, the major advantage to them is their labor laws.
Yeah.
The flexibility on, because this is the business where you can't have a kind of a labor laws what we currently India have. Because the demands keeps on going and coming, and therefore you need to have a flexible labor laws. So that's one thing which the government has to kind of consider on that side, flexibility on the labor deployment. Second, according to my understanding, is that the concept of large integration, because ultimately the competitiveness of, because ultimately this is a commodity business. If you want to export to because we are largely on the export market. So to keep a competitive advantage, you have to have a large integrated plant from a spinning to the final product.
Okay. We do have an advantage though with the use of digital and technology. So can you talk to me about how perhaps more businesses are using technology and digital, especially when it comes to textile manufacturing and in the yarn business?
See, for me, digital is for any, even to remain competitive, digital technology is very, very important. Because digitally, like if you take you said textile, in the textile, if you talk about the, garments, in that garment, the demand fluctuation in the ultimate retailer, demand fluctuation happens. If you are digitally aligned with that, you can predict those demands much in advance, and therefore the supply chain will become more efficient on that. That's one of the advantages. Second is designing. The digital intervention is also required in that side. Even for your process, to control your cost competitiveness, to make sure that your costs are aligned, digital interventions are very, very important. Otherwise, a lot of wastages which happen.
Several conversations happening that perhaps not enough skilled labor is available, but I'd love to hear from you.
No, you are right, Sunanda, that again, that the focus on that area also needs to be done. Like we are doing a lot of work on that area, on a lot of area we have opened where we are teaching the people on the textile, on the technology side or the skilled manpower. We are doing it. Either on the spinning or on the garments, we are doing those. But a lot of policy intervention probably will also be required in that area to create that availability of the labor.
You're someone who's passionate about environment friendly and sustainability and sustainable practices at your company. Can you talk to us about that?
Yes, I would like to divide it into two parts. When you say sustainability, sustainability, I would give a slightly wider picture on that, and environment is something part of that sustainability. Like, if you look at in terms of uses of the raw material, how can you efficiently use those raw materials? Because ultimately that is an area where the sustainability of the raw cotton will be there. Similarly, the uses of the recycled polyester. Like we started an initiative a few years back where we have done the PET bottle recycling. That complete PET bottles of collecting those PET bottles. So that kind of initiative where, and you know that today now the world is also looking at a sustainable product. So probably those kind of initiatives which will be very important for this industry to kind of innovate some of the product which are more sustainable, like your uses of the plastic bottles, or even using the waste of the cotton. Like we have a lot of waste which is like in the cobalt oil or those technical words I don't want to expand here. But those uses of those...
usage of energy which is more solar and wind.
Yeah, that's again very important, Sunanda, yes, you're right. It's like today for us, 75% of our spinning requirements of the power is sustainable. We have made around 47 megawatts of investment into the solar and wind, and 75% is we are taking care of that. And our plan in the future is also going to be 80-85% of our requirement of power will always be on the sustainable.
What advice do you have for someone who's watching this interview?
First and foremost, he should define what the dream he wants to pursue. And he should be passionate about that dream. Like we have done in 10, 12 years. We have created our dreams at that time and we are pursuing that dream.
And all the very best for that. Thank you so much for speaking with us today.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Out of time in tonight's conversation. If you have any feedback for us, do let us know. Our details on your screens as we speak. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.